She thought her husband was perfect, until she disguised herself as a maid and saw the truth. He brought his mistress into their home, but his wife returned early. What happened next shocked everyone. The maid knew a secret that could destroy a marriage, but the wife discovered it in the most unbelievable way. He called his wife a queen in public, but at home, another woman sat on her throne. She dressed as a servant in her own house. What she saw will leave you breathless. To the world, Eli and Pamela were the perfect couple. Neighbors adored them, church members envied them, and even strangers admired how Eli opened the car door for his wife, carried her shopping bags, and called her "my queen" in public. Pamela glowed whenever she was with him. She was hardworking, devoted, and loved her husband with a fiery loyalty. Their home was the kind of place people pointed at and whispered, "God, bless me like that." But behind closed doors, their mansion held a secret that no one else knew, except for Eliza, their housemaid. Eliza had worked for them for 3 years. She respected Pamela deeply because, unlike other bosses, Pamela treated her with kindness. She never shouted, never insulted, and always made sure Eliza ate well. But kindness from Pamela was a heavy weight on Eliza's heart, for deep down, she carried a truth so dark that she often cried alone at night. Whenever Pamela traveled for work or family visits, Eli brought other women into the house. Not discreetly, not secretly, but boldly into his marital home, into the very bed he shared with Pamela. The last time Pamela traveled, Eli brought a young woman named Samantha. She was arrogant, fearless, and acted as though the house belonged to her. She barked orders at Eliza, sat in Pamela's chair, used Pamela's perfume, and strutted around in Pamela's clothes. For Eliza, every moment was torture. She wanted to tell Pamela the truth, but fear tied her tongue. Eli was smart, charming, and convincing. If Eliza dared speak, Pamela might think she was lying. Worse, she could lose her job. So, she remained silent. She endured Samantha's cruelty, endured Ellie's betrayal, and prayed. Night after night, she begged God for just one opportunity, one chance for the truth to be revealed. That opportunity came sooner than expected. Pamela had gone away for what was supposed to be a full week. Eli, certain she would not return early, brought Samantha back into the house. This time, Samantha behaved with even more arrogance. She told Eliza to wash her clothes, cook her meals, and even polish her shoes. She spread her belongings across Pamela's sacred bedroom as if she were the mistress of the home. Eli encouraged it, laughing with her, blind to the shame he brought upon his wife's house. But fate had its own plan. On the 5th day, Pamela's business trip ended earlier than expected. Without telling Eli, she boarded a flight back home, smiling as she thought of surprising him. She imagined his face lighting up with joy when he saw her return earlier than promised. That morning, Eliza was cleaning the living room when she heard a car pull into the compound. She assumed it was Eli and rushed to open the door. But when she looked up, her eyes widened. Pamela stood there with her suitcase in hand, smiling warmly. Eliza froze, her heart racing. This was it, the very moment she had been praying for. Her chance to free Pamela from the lies. "Madam, you are back already?" Eliza stammered, her hands trembling. Pamela nodded with a gentle smile. "Yes, Eliza, I finished earlier than expected. Where's Eli? I can't wait to see him." At that question, Eliza's throat tightened. Fear battled with courage inside her. This was her one chance. If she missed it, Pamela would never know the truth. With trembling lips, she whispered, "Madam, please sit down. There is something you must know." Pamela frowned, confused. "What is it?" Eliza took a deep breath, then released the secret that had been choking her for years. She told Pamela everything, about Ellie's betrayal, about the women he brought into her bed, and especially about Samantha, who had been living like the queen of the house only days ago. At first, Pamela's heart refused to believe. Her chest tightened, her eyes filled with tears, and her mind screamed, "No, not Eli." But Eliza's trembling voice, her tears, and her desperation convinced Pamela that this was not a lie. For the first time in her life, Pamela felt her world crumble. Pamela could not sleep that night. Eliza's words echoed in her head like a curse. "Madam, he brings women here in your bed." She tossed and turned, her chest heavy with disbelief. The man who held her hand in church, the man who called her "my queen" in public, the man she sacrificed everything to support, was the same man dishonoring her behind her back? At dawn, Pamela rose with swollen eyes, but a firm decision. If Eli could betray her in secret, then she would discover the truth with her own eyes. She would not confront him directly, Not yet. She wanted proof. Proof strong enough to silence every excuse, every lie, every sweet word he might use to twist her heart again. "Eliza," Pamela whispered, gripping the maid's hand. "I need your help. Will you stand by me?" Tears filled Eliza's eyes. "Yes, madam. I will do whatever you say." And so, a dangerous plan was born. Pamela would disguise herself as a new maid in her own home. Eli was leaving for a short trip the next day and had told Eliza to hire an extra hand since guests would be visiting. Pamela seized that opportunity. The next morning, she wrapped herself in a simple wrapper, tied an old scarf around her head, and smeared ashes lightly on her face. Eliza helped complete the disguise, teaching her how to lower her eyes like a servant and keep her voice soft. When Eli returned with Samantha, Pamela stood silently in the corner, holding a broom. Her heart pounded as Samantha strutted through the living room wearing Pamela's red gown, the very one Eli had gifted her last Valentine's Day. Samantha's voice was loud and cutting. "Eliza, bring me water." "And who is this one?" She pointed rudely at Pamela. Eliza bowed slightly. "This is the new maid, madam. She just started today." Samantha waved her hand dismissively. "Good. She should wash my clothes and make sure she scrubs the bathroom floor properly. I don't like dirt." Pamela lowered her head, hiding the tears burning in her eyes. She wanted to scream, to snatch her gown off Samantha's body, to slap Eli, who sat comfortably on the sofa, laughing at something Samantha whispered. But she forced herself to remain silent. This was the test. She had to see everything. Throughout the day, Pamela endured humiliation. Samantha threw her dirty clothes at her. Eli walked past her as though she was invisible. Together, they mocked Pamela without knowing she stood right there before them. At one point, Samantha sneered, "Imagine his wife seeing me in her clothes. I bet she'd faint." Eli chuckled and replied, "She's too busy traveling and making money. She doesn't even notice what happens here. That's why I enjoy myself." Pamela's knees weakened. Every word cut into her soul like a blade. Still, she remained silent. But that night, as Samantha and Eli laughed in the bedroom, Pamela knelt in the servants' quarters, her hands clenched in prayer. "God of justice," she whispered through tears, "do not let my pain be in vain. Reveal the truth in your time. Give me the strength to endure until the mask falls off." She lay down on the hard floor, her body shaking with sobs, but in her spirit a fire began to burn. A woman scorned, betrayed, yet determined. Pamela would not remain silent forever. The next morning, Pamela rose before the sun, her body aching from the hard floor of the servants' quarters. She washed quickly and tied her scarf tightly, preparing herself for another day of pain. Her disguise had worked. Eli had not recognized her, but every moment of watching him with Samantha burned her soul like hot coal pressed to her chest. By mid-morning, the house was alive with noise. Samantha strutted around like a queen, barking orders, while Eli trailed behind her, carrying shopping bags filled with expensive perfumes and jewelry. Pamela, broom in hand, quietly swept the floor, her head bowed low, but her ears caught every word. "My love," Samantha purred, twirling in front of the mirror. "Do you really think your wife suspects nothing?" Eli laughed carelessly. "Pamela, that woman only cares about her business. She doesn't care about me. I've told you, she's too proud, too busy. That's why you are my real queen." Pamela froze. Every syllable stung, but she forced her broom to keep moving. Samantha's smile widened. "Good, because when the time is right, you'll leave her completely. Imagine the two of us in this big house. No nagging wife, no questions, just freedom." Eli nodded, his voice low. "Yes, soon." Pamela's grip on the broom tightened so hard her knuckles turned white. She wanted to scream, to reveal herself, to shatter their lies in one breath, but she held back. This was not the time. Not yet. Later that evening, the betrayal grew sharper. Eli called for the new maid to bring wine to the dining table. Pamela obeyed, balancing the tray with steady hands even though her heart quaked inside. She placed the wine before him, but Samantha smirked and whispered something in Ellie's ear. He chuckled, then turned toward Pamela with cruel eyes he had never shown her before. "Pour for her first," he said, gesturing to Samantha. Pamela obeyed, filling the glass while Samantha leaned back, her chin lifted high. Samantha muttered, "You're slow. Did Eli hire you from the streets? At least you're not as lazy as his wife. I heard she can't even keep a home." The words pierced Pamela's chest like arrows. Her own husband laughed at the insult, never defending her. Instead, he took Samantha's hand, kissed it, and said, "Don't worry about Pamela. Soon, she'll be out of the picture completely." Pamela's hands trembled so badly the bottle nearly slipped. She excused herself quickly, rushing to the kitchen where tears poured freely down her cheeks. She pressed her palm against her mouth to stop her sobs from being heard. How had her life come to this? The man she sacrificed her youth for, the man she built her world around, was planning to throw her away like old cloth. And worse, he was proud of it. That night, Pamela crept silently into the backyard. The moonlight washed over her tear-stained face as she whispered, "Enough, enough of hiding, enough of silence. If Eli wants to disgrace me, I will not go down quietly. I will rise. I will show him that the stone he rejected will become the cornerstone." Her voice trembled, but her spirit was firm. A plan began to form in her mind, not of anger alone, but of dignity and revenge. Pamela would wait for the right time, but when she rose, the whole village would know the truth, and Eli would regret the day he underestimated her.